Today you've joined us at Andean Adventure, which is the enclosure that our bears live in. So we have spectacled bears here at the zoo, and just behind me is the wonderful habitat that they do live within. So here at the zoo we have two spectacled bears, so we have a male and a female pair. So we have Rasu, who is our male bear, and he's 4 years old and he's really lovely. He's quite cheeky, quite bolshy. And then we also have Madidi, who is our female bear, and she is also 4 years old. She's actually a few weeks older than Rasu, but she's a lot smaller. The spectacled bear are quite unique. They are the only bear species that live in South America. So obviously they're the only ones you find on that continent, so they're pretty special. They live up in the cloud mountains, so they're really well adapted to live in mountainous areas. Again, that helps because obviously they're really good climbers. So they're really quite special. The spectacled bear is part of the EEP, which is the European Endangered Species programme, and our two bears are very important to that. So they've got really important genetics, and it's really important that we do try and breed them here at the zoo to safeguard their population, but they're really, really important. There's not actually many left in the world. They are classed as vulnerable by the IUCN. So the spectacled bears are unfortunately at the risk of extinction, and they have a few factors contributing towards that, but their main issue is humans. So as humans encroach on the spectacled bear habitat, so that's a little bit less room for the bears to live in, and so they come into contact with humans a little more often than what they should do. And obviously with the loss of their habitat as well, there's a lot of fragmentation, so it means the bears can't actually kind of go along to different parts of the habitat as they used to. So it's really important that we do kind of work together to try and help kind of conserve that habitat. So the habitat we have here for the bears at the zoo is quite special. We've got two large fields, and they each have different things within them. So the spectacled bear is quite an arboreal species, so that means they live in the trees, they like to climb a lot. So we have lots of structures around in the enclosure, lots of poles to climb up, lots of kind of teepees and hammocks to sit in as well. And within that we've actually popped loads of different enrichment devices. So and it means the bears have to climb and work really hard for their food, because we don't want them being lazy, we want them being proper bears. So we are hoping for a young bear cub at the end of the year or maybe next year. The bears have already mated, and then ordinarily once they've mated, the female gets quite fed up with the male and tells him off and doesn't want to be his friend anymore. So we have started to see some of that behaviour, so that's really positive. That is hopefully a sign that Madidi is pregnant. Might even be a Christmas surprise, you never know. They do give birth in winter, and our two other bears who used to live here a few years ago, Tupa and Sonko, were actually Christmas babies, so you never know, they could follow in their footsteps. Thanks for joining us today here at the zoo. Hopefully you learned quite a lot about the spectacled bears, and we hope to see you soon.